Welcome to my side of the closet. I'm your host, Just B.
And I'm Blonde Mafia.
Today's episode is called Therapy Saved Me from Myself. And it's the moment you choose healing over hiding.
So, this is a subject that is near and dear to me, and for so many reasons. Let's start with I am the last person on earth who I thought would ever be in therapy, and not for lack of trauma in my life, let me tell you. Just my personality type and being raised the way I was, I think that I would view therapy as something as a last resort. I don't think it's something that I would ever seek out. And that's because I've always said, here I am on a podcast communicating with the world. But when it comes to being vulnerable and talking about things that make me sad or require emotion, I'm not good at that. And I always said, if I can't do that with my closest friends and family, how am I going to do it with a stranger? For me, going through what we went through and finding out that our husbands or our partners were living a double life and were gay and representing themselves in a way that we had no idea. I was so personally devastated by the information the day that I found out that I found myself, and I don't know how I come across over the radio, but I am not a depressed person by nature. I am mostly an upbeat, happy, life of the party, always turning lemons into lemonade type of person. But I found myself after finding out that my husband was gay, among other things. I found myself in a depression that was unmatched. And I have never felt these feelings before where I wasn't able to get up off the couch. I wasn't able to function. I wasn't going to work. I didn't want to shower. I didn't want to eat. I couldn't, I had people deeply concerned for me, and again concerned because this wasn't my normal persona. And so for me, this topic of this episode touches me deeply because for the first time in my life I found myself saying, if I don't seek help, if I don't find a therapist, if I don't find someone to talk to, I'm not going to be okay, and I don't know how I'm going to move forward. I'd also never experienced grief before. And this process is so close to processing grief because it is a loss. It's a loss of the person that you thought you knew. It's a loss of your relationship. It's a huge loss. And having never lost someone close in my life before, it was all new to me. And so seeking a therapist and the process of that too, which a lot of people don't talk about. It's like, well, if you've never been in therapy before. It's also a crime to me, and this is a little tangent, how expensive therapy is. Why is therapy so expensive? And why is mental health not put higher, importance than it is? Why do we not have access to therapy for less than $200 an hour, which is absolutely insane? And especially for some of us that find ourselves, oh, now we're going through a divorce or a breakup and we've got children or we've got an entire family breaking up and now suddenly we've got to absorb the cost of taking on the role of maybe mom and dad or the finances of the whole family. But the biggest thing we need is someone to talk to and walk us through what just happened and what we went through and what this looks like and how do we process this information that our ex-spouses, boyfriends, whatever the relationship was, are someone who we didn't know who they were. And so the process for me was necessary. I don't know that I would have come out the other side the way I did without therapy.
How many therapists did you have?
I actually stayed with the original one that I found, and that is nothing shy of a miracle because I did not like her from the get-go. I found her young. I found her a lot of things I would say she had absolutely no comprehension of. But it got to the point where I was like, I'm not going to start this story over. I'm just going to stick it through. But the truth of the matter was, she, through 4 or 5 sessions, she knew what she was doing. It was me that didn't trust the process. And that was something that I had to get used to, was trusting the process of talking about one of the most difficult, no, not one of the most difficult thing I'd ever been through in my entire life. And going through that, again, it was a process. I like to, speak about finding avenues. There's actually avenues out there for therapy that people don't realize that are not $200 an hour. And I would love for us to be able to bring on someone on the show at some point that talks about that, that there are, you know, therapists and people who will speak to you about these things without, breaking the bank, because for me, it saved my life. On top of meeting you. Meeting you was number 1, but therapy was number 2.
So in my case, I had 3 therapists, okay? I had 3 because I was all over the place. So I had professional therapy, through my insurance at my job. And not only that, I put him in therapy. I God dog it, you gonna have to go to therapy. And I remember he was in therapy and I was in therapy. And after the sessions, I'd be like, okay, so what your therapist say? Like, because he made it seem as if, and maybe this could have been one of his, I don't want to say games because again, this is his side of the closet, but it was one of those things where he was like, well, I can't really share. Or it was dark today. And I'm like, damn, they got deep. I wonder what the hell they talked about. Cause, my
Mhm.
therapist told me to be vulnerable because he came out to me. But I told her, my sister told me he ain't come out to me. So I wanted to know what his therapist was saying, but I wasn't privy to that. And I had to respect that because I feel like it was trauma. I don't know if something happened as a child. That's what I was told that, he said something happened to him as a child. And that'll be on another episode with trauma and what the other side does deal with. Because again, we want to know because everybody says, oh, I'm born this way. But what happened to somebody touch you inappropriately? I dated someone who was touched inappropriately. But with my therapist, she said, be vulnerable because he came out. And that pissed me off. I'm like, no, he didn't come out. He got caught. Okay.
100%.
But because the heart wants what the heart wants, the heart struggles, and it was hard for me. So I was like, you know what? Biblically, I'm going to fight. I'm going to fight for my situation. I'm going to fight for my partner. This is what I'm going to do. And that's what I tried to do. I tried to fight because that person said, I don't want to be this way. I've struggled with this. This is not what I want. And as long as he chose me, that's all that matters. But I found out later that ain't really what he really wanted. He wanted to be out. It's like when you drink too much alcohol and you could smell it through the person's skin. That's how much he wanted to be out. That shit was pouring out. Okay. So that therapist was not enough. Y'all, I had the therapist, I had the 2 church pastors out helping me because I just could not fathom what the hell just happened to my life. And I thought of all the siblings or the family members, I thought I had the best of the pickings. I had the best one, y'all, the cutest one. He had his bachelor's degree, and being African. There's something about being African. It's like when you have your degree, then you're really doing something. And when you come to America, the goal is come here, get your degree, get married, and have your kid, live your life. Live the American dream. I don't know if the Americans don't know the American dream, but people from other countries, we hold on to the American dream. And damn it, that's what I thought I had because that's what was pumped into my head. And that's what I believed. I thought I lived the American dream. I enjoyed it. I used to come home, drop my bags off, jump in my pool, and I was living my life, enjoying my family. But that came to a rude awakening. So I had my pastors from both churches and my therapist, I had them all on speed dial. In that first moment when you do decide to go, because y'all, whether you're on whichever side of the closet, and I say which side of the closet, meaning if you're still in and you have not come out, baby, come out. Come out, boo boo. Come out. We will embrace you. The one
It's
thing I just
2025.
don't
Come out.
like is for people to lie about it. Come out. It's okay. And let me go back and say this. Now, y'all listening? Damn it, y'all ain't listening. I'm finna pause because I'm listening to Cindy Lauper time after time. Okay, time after time, I think about this shit. Let me say this, y'all. Listen carefully. Come up to the turn your volume up, y'all. Now I see why he likes to watch Will and Grace. Damn it, I said it. Now I see why he loves to watch Will and Grace because every time I watch
Back to
Will and
moments.
Grace, I'm like, I
Oh,
see why he
shit.
liked Jack. He was Jack. But if you haven't gone to therapy yet, let me tell you that first session, that y'all, I'm so goofy. This is a serious situation, very serious, okay? But when I went to therapy, y'all, I'm sitting there looking She had a nice couch, okay? And I was like, "Damn it, these pillows. I wonder if she went to Home Goods to get her pillows," you know? And I'm sitting there and I'm watching the clock because I'm like, "We're gonna make sure you charging me for this hour, right? But you just spent 5 minutes of me signing paperwork. So you're taking 5 minutes of my time." But it's like you don't wanna necessarily open up just yet because you're kinda you have your guards up because 'cause you're still mad. You're still angry and you don't know what she's gonna say, if they're gonna take your side or his side or vice versa, depending on who's listening to this. You just wanna be heard. And then when they don't say anything, they're just looking at you and then they start writing stuff down and you're like, "So what you writing? You writing my address or something? What you writing? My social? Like, what are you writing?" So it's just a million things that run through your mind, and then you're sitting there and you're like, "An hour is not enough. It's not
Right. It
enough."
never was. Never. It was never long enough.
And
When you were talking, I just hearing you, I actually forgot I did have more than one therapist. I completely forgot that when I very first found out, he wanted to go to couples therapy and we had 2 sessions. And that I've
we did that
erased that from
too.
my mind. Yeah, I've erased it from my mind because it was utterly so ridiculous. Because I know everyone lives their own path. And when you first find out, you aren't sure how the rest is going to play out. And there's so many women I see in the support group that are like, well, what do I do now? Am I going to leave? Am I not going to leave? I'm going to stay. For me, that wasn't my path. For me, I did not share a child with this person. And so I knew from the moment I found out it was done. He was out, he was gone. There was no question in my mind. But for whatever reason, when he told me, I want to go to therapy with you, I said, sure, let's go. Again, I think, like you said, you just want to be heard. And I wanted this therapist to sit there and tell him, this is not okay. What you did is not okay. And I got to tell you, that is not what happened. That's not what happened at all. The therapist, in my mind, seemed to be more concerned about his transition into coming out of the closet and less
Yeah,
concerned about yeah. Yeah.
what
It
the
happened.
hell is up with that? Yes,
Uh,
very much
yeah.
so.
Yes.
You wanna be heard, but for them, it's like, "Oh, it's freedom. It's from freedom from captivity."
Right.
I'm sorry,
Right.
y'all. I did not hold you gunpoint and tell you to be with me.
Or to marry
So
me. I certainly didn't tell you to marry me.
yeah, so this is it gets because you feel like everybody is just feeling so sorry for this person. And I think that's part of the lies and the deceit. Like, dude, seriously, you knew what the hell you wanted, you knew what you were doing, and you didn't give us I can't say you didn't give us a choice because I also blame myself because I feel like I had signs. I just was so in love that I didn't want to believe because I'm like, I asked you and you denied it. And I trusted and I believed you. And this is going out to my future husband that's gonna meet me at Walmart in aisle 7. Meet me in aisle 7.
But
Just wanted to say that because he out there.
I remember like yesterday when this therapist sat across from us. I remember 2 things. Number 1, I remember him walking through the door to the room and looking at him and going, "I don't even recognize this person anymore." He was dressed
Mm,
differently. He had a new
mhm.
tattoo. We're talking days after he left. He had a necklace on. I mean, this was the man, and I get it. He could finally be free. I get it. Trust me, I understand. But he sits down, and I'll never forget the therapist turning to me and saying, "So what now? What are you going to do now?" And I looked at her and I said, "What do you mean, what am I going to do now?" And she said, "Well, are you going to stay in this relationship?" And to me, that wasn't even a concept. I thought, what do you mean, am I going to stay in this relationship? He likes men. He wants dick. He does not want boobs and vagina. What do you mean, am I going to stay? But I now, especially being in this support group and reading all these women's stories and meeting you and hearing how long you kept trying because you did share a child, I realized that that's not everyone's path and that everyone doesn't come to that decision overnight the way I did. But in that moment, when the therapist looked at me and I realized that I was not there with the therapist that I needed to be with because there is no point in doing couples therapy unless the 2 of you are staying together. And I knew in my heart of hearts, there's no way I'm staying with a man who cannot fulfill my needs and vice versa. I couldn't fulfill his needs. Sorry, I don't have the right, you know, apparatus. So to me, it was like, why are we continuing this? We did 2 full sessions and I just said, I hang this up. I need my own therapist. I need to talk to someone who's here for me and not for him because it was so utterly frustrating to hear this person support him through. And, he went on to get his own therapist and do his own therapy and work through coming out of the closet. And good for him. I'm glad he did after hiding in his closet for what was he when he came out? He was 44 years old. Good for him. But doing it together to me was pointless.
So you said some things that I want to touch on real quick. For one, you talked about the tattoos and the dressing differently. I literally seen mines changing before my eyes as well. You're wearing the women's earrings on both ears. Your jeans are getting tighter.
The shorts are getting shorter. The
Oh, no,
colors are getting
I
brighter.
didn't see thank God I didn't see no,
The
thank God I did
mustaches are
not
getting thicker.
thank God I did not see the shorts getting shorter even though he has nice legs.
I did.
But yeah, but the jeans were extra tight and that wasn't okay. But you see them dressed differently and you don't know, you don't recognize this person anymore. I remember when I was trying to figure out things, like, let's go out and sit down and let's talk about this. Like, what happened to you? I was trying to be understanding before I was gonna call it quits. It was hard to call it quits, right? So, y'all, I'm Christian. I'm not perfect. Jesus no, and we're okay with that because every day is a struggle. Y'all should know we're gonna keep this as real and as raw as possible. But I remember trying to have a conversation. Y'all know what I did. Y'all okay? Y'all heard this before. This is for the community and this is for the women in the group. This is for everybody because I'm being real, y'all. Try to take him to Hooters. You know how they say you can't you know you know how they say you can't pray the gay away? I don't care about everybody else being gay or bi or whatever. You be who you wanna be, join the army, whatever. But for me and mine, baby, I took mines to Hooters, and that was the first time I'm like, "Well, look at her titties." I'm over here, it's like, look at her titties. You like the titties? You like this one? A cup, B cup, C cup, D cup. You know, all of those because I was struggling. I wanted my man back. I wanted my friend back. I wanted my protector back. I almost damn near idolized this person. Like he was everything to me. My future husband in aisle 7, baby, you gonna be all of that and some more. Okay. So don't just chill out. But for me, I was trying everything. It was like if I could just get you into this Hooters and maybe you'll change your mind and choose me. You know, in Grey's Anatomy, she says, choose me. Love me. I'm telling y'all, yo, I'm so serious. Even speaking to y'all about this is therapy for me. And if you ever meet me in person, like I'm the same person, whether it's on social media or on this podcast or in
I
person.
can attest
I'm
to
the
that.
same person. You know, I'm silly and I'm serious. This is just me because some people might listen to this and like, oh, you know what, that one, she's just too goofy all the time. Okay, thank you for listening. Goodbye. But it's a lot because you're trying to hold on. You don't want to let the reality of life go, the life that you once had. You're struggling. You're trying to grab on everything that you can and you're hoping this person can change, but you realize, no, this is who this person is and probably who this person always has been. You know, and again, we're going to go on another episode talk about the stages of grief because even though it's been what 4.5 to 5 years, I have episodes. I'm a lot better than where I was before, but I definitely have episodes. I know you guys have episodes and I say you guys because there are ladies and this is not just about that group. I know it's some men out there who are in love with a woman and you've done everything for this woman. You've tried everything for this woman. This woman still cannot see you because she sees her. Okay? She sees her. She don't see you. She don't see your masculinity. She sees something else because this woman understands her. See what I see?
So eloquent, Jess.
But we did go to therapy and I never forget the therapist said, look into her eyes and tell her and I say, I want to save this relationship. "Do you wanna save this relationship?" And he looked me dead in my eyes, and my eyes are big. He said, "God," he got small bedroom eyes, and I got big old eyes. He looked me in my eye and says, "I want to save our relationship." And damn
Ooh,
it,
you
I
never told
looked
me
at
that.
him. Yeah, we gets deep on here, girlfriend. I looked at him and I
Oof.
knew, like, I was like, "We gonna work on this. We gonna save this relationship.
Oh,
We're gonna save this." And
no.
I'm not listening to what anybody, and we were probably at like 10 months of finding out. This is also having a miscarriage. This is also some family members turning on me because they didn't understand, like, how can she not leave? And it's like, it was not easy to leave. It's like being in an abusive relationship. It's not easy to just get up and leave. I'm 5'9". In my head, I'm 6'2". So if I was in an abusive relationship, I'm gladly gonna beat your ass, right? I can fight. No, I can't. I have no upper body strength, okay?
But were you in your own therapy at this
But
time?
in was I in therapy at that time? No, my own
Yeah,
therapy, I was not. I wasn't in my own therapy. I was in couples therapy.
yeah,
Good question. I never thought
yeah.
about that. So we actually had a big death in our lives. And after that happened, that's when everything ended. So was it real? I don't know. If you ask me, was your relationship to this person, was it real? I don't know. When I look at the pictures, I look at the pictures and say, damn, that was a beautiful couple. We were like that couple when you go and buy an album and you see that little fake couple on there. That was us with the beautiful family. We did the Christmas photos, we did the Thanksgiving photos. That was us.
That's called the beard.
Whew.
They
I'm
try
about to roll
extra
up my
hard.
imaginary. Yeah. And that's the part that sucks because, again, I really hope this reaches so many people. Last year, I talked about doing this podcast and I said, "Comment, I'm in." And when I woke up, I've seen like over 50, and it grew more and more, and people kept saying, "When is this coming out?" It's out, y'all. It's out, and he's out, and they're out, and she's out.
And guess what? We're out too.
We're out. We're
No
out, right?
apologies.
You
But the
know,
point of this is,
in a
again, therapy.
Mhm.
Absolutely
Therapy is really
necessary.
important. It's important, and it's just not for you, and if you have kids by this person, you still need it. You need it for them. We just wanna say, thank you for tonight. Thank you for listening. As we close, your side of the closet does matter, and we're here to make space for it. So this is my side of the closet. No matter the mess, no matter the fight, your side of the closet deserves the light. So speak your truth. Don't run or hide. We'll be right here on the other side. Thank you all. Have a good night.